Good Saturday afternoon. This is Mcwu with Madison County Weather Updates, recording this video about 12:50 p.m. Obviously, it's going to be a little later now by the time you see it, but I want to just do a quick overview on what to expect today, tomorrow, maybe into Monday. Since I haven't really been on here very much this past week, I apologize for that. Between cleaning out my mother-in-law's house and a couple of meetings for the city, and quite frankly, just struggling on whether I'm going to keep doing this page or not. I've only done a couple of updates this week. This next week, I may be a little more MIA as well, because I'll be up at a floodplain managers conference from Tuesday through Friday. I'll have my computer with me, and I'll try to still make sure I get some forecasts to you. But again, I apologize for my absence. As always, I want to be sure that I thank our Patreon patrons and our subscribers through the web page, and repeat donors through the various means, whether it's PayPal or Venmo or what have you. All the things noted on the page. Thank you all for putting your faith in this page, and to our sponsors for sponsoring the page. So let's take a quick look here at what we got going on. I'm going with GR Level 3 radar today because there's less ground clutter on it. And we can see there's a weak little boundary kind of hanging out here to the west through west central Indiana. It's possible some of this might develop a little farther east, but you can see how it's just things kind of pop up, they rain themselves out and then fade away. And that's kind of what we would expect for today. So none of us should be surprised if something pops up over us and does anything from a sprinkle to a quick downpour. But most of us are probably going to stay dry today. And we're just it kind of depends on how far east this boundary comes, and there's how much moisture can feed into it, to pop some things up. Our best chances today are going to be late in the afternoon. One of the things that are kind of influencing the way things might play out for us is, looking at a national view, there's a low pressure system, actually a couple of them. They've been hanging out down here in the southeast, and in a way they're kind of spinning some moisture up into the area. Between those and the circulation is high pressure, there's kind of some pushback from the southeast, and that's kind of what's maybe going to stop that boundary in western Indiana from advancing too far east. We'll just have to see how that plays out. And then as we look at it over the next day or so, you can kind of see this system kind of moves up the east coast. How much moisture it decides to steal is going to play a big factor into how much rainfall we see tomorrow. Right now it's not looking super impressive, but we'll have to watch and see how that plays out over the next day or two. And you can see it, it's pretty healthy even up into here. So it's, and then we got another low sitting down here in the Gulf. Between the two of them, they're getting kind of first dibs on the moisture that might be available to this front that's coming. So, and to this kind of closed off upper low. So we're just going to have to see how these things play out. If they fill in more with more rain, that's going to take some rain away from us. If they're less active, then we may do better with our rainfall out here. And 9 times out of 10, those lows out to the east and southeast will rob moisture from us. To this point, September 10th, I've had a trace of rainfall in September at my location in North Anderson. So I just kind of wanted to show you a national view to get an idea of what's going on to our southeast and what's affecting our weather. So now let's come closer. We'll pull into more of a regional view and take a look at from pivotal weather on the HRRR model and look at the progression. And again, you can kind of just see it has these little pop-ups, but it's farther east, and we can see right now they're hanging more out here. So anything that it's got popping up today may be a little too far east, but again, there's no telling. There's enough instability around, something could pop up at any point. And then when we kind of look at it progress through the afternoon, and you can just see this kind of pop-up stuff. Again, as we get into tomorrow morning, our chances will begin to increase as this low pressure system out here moves a little closer. So for any of us to have some golf tee times in the mornings, and rainfall may be a problem. And we just kind of have to, again, see what happens with this out here to our east, out over Pennsylvania, and then what's going on down in the Gulf, how much moisture those steal. As we look at the progression throughout the day, this is getting into late morning, and now we're into early tomorrow afternoon. You can see a little better coverage, some just bands of cells that just kind of pop up. It's not looking like a washout of a day. It's just going to be a day where there's better precipitation chances, and anything you're going to be doing outside, you need to have in mind that you're probably going to encounter some rain. But at no point is there ever more than about 50% coverage, across the state. So, again, very hit and miss. Some of us may get sprinkles, and some of us might get a half an inch. There's just no way to know. And this system just kind of hangs around, and it'll kind of pinwheel around this closed low. The surface low is going to kind of spin around that because it's closed off. It creates more of a circulation with this low pressure. You can see it kind of loop its way back around by the time we're getting into early Monday. How long this low pressure hangs out, how long this upper level low pressure hangs out, is going to make a huge difference on how temperatures play out over the next couple of days. But right now we're at 85 degrees and a little after 12:50 p.m., pushing 12:55. So, and that's probably about as warm as we're going to get today. Pretty summery feel outside. But tomorrow we're probably only going to be in the mid-70s. We're going to be within a couple of degrees either way of 70 degrees on Monday. Maybe upper 60s, maybe lower 70s. And then Tuesday will be the same if this low pressure hangs around. But if it moves itself on as kind of expected, then temperatures will start to increase, and then we may be looking at mid to upper 80s by next weekend. Last thing I'm going to take a look at, just because I want you to see it, is out in the Bering Sea. Again, Indiana's correlation is roughly in the area where my cursor is. There's a big ridge that's been moving through. There was a trough a few days ago that moved through, and then a big ridge which would point to some heat. The Bering Sea rule, usually you're looking at 17 to 21 days out. So we're looking somewhere between September 27th and October 1st for this ridge and potentially some heat. But then look at this massive trough digging in back behind here. As we get into the first week of October, we may be looking at a major cold front and some much cooler air for a few days. We'll see how that develops over the next few days, but I just wanted to let you know we're still we're going to be on this roller coaster where we have a few days that are warm, a few days that are cool, back to warm, back to cool. So far the warmth is, I expected September to finish cooler than average, and that could still happen, but the warmer days are kind of winning out, mostly because nighttime temperatures have been warmer most of the mornings, and that's really kind of skewing our averages. So, we'll just see how this plays out, but keep in mind, potentially another shot of pretty decent warmth. By late September, that kind of a ridge is probably translating to, another bout of low to mid 80s. I think if we can't squeeze 90 degrees out in the next 7 to 10 days, it's probably not going to happen the rest of the year. And then we'll see how deep this trough is as it comes through. We may be looking at some days in the lower 60s in early October. And that's a long way out. A lot can change, but that's the way things look right now. So with all things said, last thing, again, please go over to the Patreon page. There'll be a link in the text to this video. Become a patron, support this page. There are 3 membership levels right now: $3 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. Or you can still go to madcoweather.com or go to one of the methods that are in the pin post or that were at the beginning of yesterday's 7-day forecast. Please support this page. We kind of go these little spurts where we get a few new members, and then it just stops. And so I want to keep doing this, but it's a lot of work. It's gotta be worth it, I guess. But at any rate, I'm babbling. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Thank you very much.